Good afternoon and welcome to this episode of CDA Oasis Live. I'm delighted to welcome today Dr. Alida Andersen. She's a GP dentist in Toronto, and over the past few years she's become particularly passionate about some ecological issues. Alida, what is the big issue that has grabbed your attention and how did it come to your attention?
Well, thank you so much for having me, first of all, and hello to everyone. You know, the thing is that we all know at this point that we have a huge issue with plastic pollution, right? And the extent of its hazards for our health and the health of our planet is not something that can be ignored. So the thing is that I find that recently we're becoming more aware, and it almost feels like very overwhelming in terms of we have a lot of bad news, but there's not a lot of solutions, and that's where I find that we need to kind of talk about, okay, we know the problem, but where we go from here.
Now let's talk about dentistry and relate this to our profession. This plastic pollution business mean to us as dentists. Why should we worry about it?
Great question. Because the thing is that I see this not as something separate from us. It's not you have to be environmentalist or care about the oceans or animals to care. This is something that applies to everybody because of its health implications. You know, we are eating, drinking, breathing microplastic on a daily basis. So it is involving us. Even if we care for nothing else, it still involves us. So that's one thing that we have to have in mind. It doesn't matter what our profession is, this is something that we have to all care. But also, we are doctors and scientists. And I think that, you know, more than any other group of people, we should kind of stand by what we believe it's you know, not only good, like important the health of our patients, but also the health of our planet. Right. The other thing that we should think about is the image that we want to give it to our patients, right? Now more than ever, people are becoming aware of the problem, and the whole world is starting to think more green, especially the younger generations. You know, they are the ones who know this is their planet, they gotta live in it, and they don't like the mess that we're in. So they kind of are watching us in a sense. And don't get me wrong, I know with the infection control, everybody now more than ever wants to have all the barriers and they want to not get anything. But the thing is that I just believe there should be a better way, and there is a better way. And also there's certain things that are not even necessarily connected to infection control that the patients are noticing. So going back to how I got involved with my advocacy in this greener living, it actually started a few years ago. It started with something very simple. I just watched a documentary, and it's called Plastic Ocean. And I remember that was the moment that I, like the wake up call, like it was like a light bulb went on, and I realized that this is like not a problem away from me, but it's something that concerns me as well, right? I remember I got up towards the end of it, before it actually finished, I started texting my friends. I said, you gotta watch this. This is crazy. And that day, it really hit me so hard, to the point that I said, I need to do something. Why am I not doing something about this? Why am I just moving, like living my life the way it is? So what I did, first I looked at our own profession, dentistry, and it's like, wow, this is crazy how much waste we have. And then I looked at my own life and I was like, wow, like I am producing so much waste on a daily basis. So I took it one step at a time. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do better in my own life. So I made some changes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not even close to perfect, because it's so difficult to live these days, go shopping, grocery shopping, and not have waste. So yeah, I'm not perfect at all, but I am doing what I can as of now today. But the main thing that I started to do was to say, okay, instead of feeling overwhelmed or upset or angry or do nothing, I started a YouTube channel, because that's something I could have done. I had a power to you know, to do something and channel my energy into something positive.
You know, you've given us the advice and your own personal experience that you can't take it all on in one go. You break it down into little bits. can you make some suggestions for practical baby steps or first steps that I and other viewers can incorporate into our professional lives to do our little bit for the planet at the same time as advancing the progression?
The thing is, I think once we start to think that this is something that we should care about, look at it in a new set of lens of eyes, right? Then the solutions will come. If we start to think that, well, you know, I gotta go to work, do my thing, it doesn't really matter, that's not my problem, well, we're not getting anywhere and we're not coming up with the solutions. But the moment that we say, you know what, we gotta do better than this and we can do better, then we start to see things. So once we do that, that's the first main important step. Right. Once we look at it like that, then we see things. So I see it in kind of two ways, like simple first solutions that we can do to change, and then the more long-term ones. The simple ones are very easy. Those are the ones that are, as I said, they don't need to be necessarily connected with infection control. So I give you a few examples, like bamboo brushes, the air water syringes, the dapping dish, the water cups. These are the things that we can fix immediately. Like, it's just so many things we can do to start. Right. And then to do better, that takes more time. That's more like a long-term thing, right? At that time is where we need to start to look outside, like when we're ordering something, for example. If we start to look for alternative products that are more sustainable or compostable, that's when we get the real stuff happening. And that takes time and effort and collaborations. So if we start to ask for it, then the scientists who are creating them or the suppliers are going to give it to us. And the more of us ask for it and collaborate together, that's where we actually going to be able to get more of those alternative solutions.
Right. So you've talked about the longer term, you've talked about collaboration. It takes a village to raise a child. Have you got any calls to action for colleagues who are watching this conversation?
Yes. I think the main thing I want people to remember from today's conversation, and not just for my colleagues, but for whoever that is watching this, please remember that every single one of us have the power to make the difference. We are the change makers. We shouldn't wait for somebody else to fix the problem, for the government to fix the problem, for the corporate to fix the problem. We should own it. We should take actions, and we should come up with a solution. And the moment that we feel that we are the ones who have the power, that's where we see the difference. Us as individuals, as consumers, we are the ones who's driving the market, not the other way around, right? So that is the main thing I want people to believe in. Believe in your own power. Start it today. Look around you, in your own personal life, at your own work, going to organize an event, a birthday party. How can you do better every single day? It doesn't have to be perfect. One step at a time, stay connected, work with your community, and that's how we get the big wave of change.
So is there any place for like-minded dentists to gather to talk about these things?
You know what, amazing question. Actually, I have a colleague of mine, Dr. Fulop, who is also very interested in this. We talked about maybe getting together, creating a website that dentists can actually go in there with some solutions and more ideas. So our website hasn't been launched. It might take a few months till March. Hopefully it's going to be called greenerdentistry.com. The reason I said greener, because I know we'll never get green, or never, it's a big word, but at least doing better. So I'll provide my email and her email. If anybody wants to stay connected, we'll be in touch. And then hopefully over the months or years to come, we can do better together collaboratively.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that you're just going greener rather than green. March, that's the Irish month we're only green in March. So, well, we hope to keep in touch with you and find out how you're getting along. And I admire your passion, and anything we can do to help, we will. Thanks very much for calling by today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your time.